how do you increase that trust in yourself that you're making the right decision?
The economy always moves in cycles, and knowing where we are in that cycle can help you determine which sectors are likely to do best. So even in a bear market, I still understand now that there's going to be sectors that are going to rotate out of it faster. Basically, I just look for where I think Mr. Market's got it wrong, something they don't understand, a high growth company that they think is going to die, or a big boy that they've had an event like UNH lately. So there's loads of different opportunities wherever the market's mispricing things. I think after a while you just learn the best misvaluations for your strategy.
Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Bull. Here we're talking with Jody Knight, or as many people call her on Etoro, Jody Slaying. She is sitting pretty on Etoro with 472 copiers as of today and 5,100 followers. Her analysis is fantastic. Her story is one that you want to listen to because it goes from the depths of Lester all the way to a popular investor and a social media influencer. She's trying to grow her YouTube channel, The Crafty Trader, so make sure to check it out in the description below. This is a fantastic talk. I recommend you watch all of it. There's a lot of diamonds in the rough here, just waiting to be uncovered. All right, so Jody is in the house. Welcome. It's good to have you here.
Good to be back.
Yeah. Now, this is a Beyond the Bull episode. So here we're going to sort of like try to break down everything about Jody and try to understand where she comes from, what's her edge, what's her alpha, and does she have, some crazy tips and tricks that we can share with the community here, right? But we first must understand, right, like where you come from, what do you do, right? Like, I want to know who the person behind the portfolio is, right? And in this part of the sort of episode, we call it the spark, the origin story, right? I want to know, like, what do I need to understand about you in particular that makes you such a good investor in this case, at least with your returns, which are fantastic. I want to know sort of what made you the way you are, right? And like sort of like, what was the thing? So I want to know like from the beginning, right? Like what is something I need to know from you, from your early youth that sort of puts you in this position?
Early youth? Oh, that's going back a bit. I think when I was really young, I didn't really understand the value of money. I grew up not really wealthy. I mean, it wasn't like mega poor, but I certainly grew up in a not wealthy area. And it certainly makes you want to work to get money. So I think I have a fair grasp of the actual value of money and what it takes to accrue it. So I think really I don't really have an exciting background or any amazing
but not exciting.
backstory.
Sometimes we find beauty in the mundane, right? So where are you from originally?
Leicester. I still live in Leicester as well, so I'm still there.
Right? And then you said you don't come from a lot of money, right? Okay. So dig a little bit deeper on that, right?
A little deeper. I don't know. I mean, when I first got into working, I mean, I wasn't particularly great at school either. I was pretty below average, I would say. So I'm not technically book smart, but I'm smart in different ways. So I understand stock markets way more than I ever did basic, trigonometry at school. I was absolutely terrible at that, and I probably still am. But I understand how to build a spreadsheet. But I didn't really work good jobs until I grew a lot older as well. So I started working in factories, like really low menial task bar work, that kind of stuff. And I think one day I just had a friend that he'd just left the army. And the army were advertising kind of retraining grants. And even though I wasn't in the army, it was like a loophole I could get in. I don't actually know how I managed to blag it because I was on this training course doing IT with loads of military guys, and they are crazy. They are crazy guys. And I just lived there for about 3 months, got an IT degree thing, like crammed in a university course really fast. Got into IT, realized that actually making money is not that hard if you're willing to put a lot of effort into it. And then I've just moved on now to finance and making money in other ways.
Yeah, I was looking at your LinkedIn and there's a lot of IT history, right? And I wanted to ask you, like, how does IT help you sort of like understand the world in a different way, right? Because we are in
the world's just tech. It's moving tech. So the more I understand from my background about technology, the more I can understand new technology companies. I still work in IT as well, so I'm still doing a lot of that stuff.
So you're still full-time IT. So that's your full-time gig?
Yeah, I've got a few jobs, to be honest. I
Okay.
don't like being bored, apparently, so I'm always doing
Okay.
stuff.
So what are those jobs, right? Like, what are you doing right now?
So I work for a company in Peterborough at the minute doing security engineering, just updating the customers' machines, so thousands of machines. And then I work for a local company as well, doing their IT systems, just, whenever they need it. 'Cause they're an older generation, so they need a bit more guidance on that kind of stuff.
Okay. Nice. Okay, so you're sort of like a part-time popular investor, part-time like investor trader, and then also the IT stuff.
Yeah,
So you do like hard work.
I do. I do like hard work. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't like being bored. I can't sit still. I'm terrible, really terrible at it.
Yeah, tell me about it. You know
I
what I
know
mean? Tell me about it.
that.
It's like I have to be doing something, you know?
I know it irritates the heck out of my wife.
My girlfriend says the same thing, you know? It's like I'm trying to do renovations, I'm trying to do the investing, I'm trying to do the business, I'm trying to do market bus, I'm trying to do so many things just because whenever I get like usually whenever I find focus on one thing, I spend so much time on it and then I transition to other things as well. So
Yes, the hyper focus is
yeah,
crippling sometimes.
correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It is the truth. It is the truth. So cool. Okay. All right. So you have like a lot of I guess a lot of experience on IT because that's your main sort of side gig, right?
Mhm.
What would you say it's like? Because you mentioned something very key, right? And it was that IT sort of clicked or made that switch for you, right?
Mhm.
Was there anything else that sort of created that switch, or was it mostly like understanding this new sort of like work era, right? Or
You mean from IT to finance?
correct, right? Like understand because like what made you sort of want to understand money at the end of the day?
Well, it was crypto. I think most people started in crypto, but in IT, obviously back then, I think it was one of the early cycles, 2 or 3 cycles ago, when I first started at the company I'm with now. Everyone was talking about Bitcoin, and a lot of them were doing really degen stuff. So they were more doing the arbitrage side of it and getting all their bank accounts shut down, like some really sketchy stuff. But it was all they talked about. So I was constantly talking about it. They were doing a lot of the ICOs, making money doing that, and it was a lot easier to make money on ICOs now. I mean, it's quite hard these days. But hearing them do that, then I started to do it as well. And then we have the bear market fatality, and then I learned that maybe there's better ways to make money than gambling. But basically, I think that's what I was doing back then.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because I saw. So when did you first start investing?
Pretty much when I popped onto eToro.
17.
Yeah, I think that was about
Okay.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
A
yeah.
little
I
bit
saw
on
your
Binance
history.
before then, just trading, but this was the first actual brokerage account.
Okay. Yeah, because I saw you start in 2017, and then from there you sort of, you had your ups and downs in your
Hmm.
journey. You started very good. I mean, August 2017, 31% returns.
Oh yeah, I
So
thought I was
fantastic.
the dogs. Woohoo!
Yeah,
Thought
yeah,
I
yeah.
had it all cracked.
Yeah, which I find is so like it's a little bit scary too, because the thing is like whenever you kind of go into something and you perform really well, you think, oh,
Hmm.
I'm the best. Sort of like you go into this sort of like I am the best. I have all the knowledge, and
Mm.
without sort of like taking into consideration, like what I like to call it is you don't know what you don't know,
Yeah,
in a sense, right?
exactly.
So yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit for sure, because I want to sort of understand that journey apart from that. But then, so was there anybody that sort of got you? Who was the first person that got you sort of like interested into this? Do you remember them? Was there a person in particular that made you look at it differently, or?
There was kind of a guy that I worked with. I think his name was Paul or something back then. He doesn't work there now, but he was the guy I asked a lot of questions. He did a lot of the ICO stuff, which I didn't like, but he was kind of the guy that had the information about crypto. For that, not really. I mean, I'm a big advocate of do your own research, and I think I've always had that habit of going on and looking for information. I've never really been the kind of person that goes and asks someone for help, which is probably quite a flaw actually, but it's worked out okay for me in a lot of aspects of my life. If I'm interested in something, I just go on probably you get it, you just hyper focus the heck out of it and you just squirrel away all this
Yeah.
information. I'll have spreadsheets and books and then I just absorb it and then I move on to something else.
Yeah, no, I find that there is a time to ask someone, but it's not usually the first page that I to go to. It's like, okay, like I'm interested in something, let's dig deep.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I find somebody that's interested in the same things, I like to have conversations with them and I have something to bring to the table as well, right? Because many people is like, well, I'll go ask you and I know nothing. But
Yeah.
then it's like, if you don't have this sort of like passion or interest enough to kind of like go on it by yourself at least, and then sort of like then develop with someone else, then it's one of the things I kind of say. But it's like usually like for me it's the same. It's like I'll go alone it, but then getting to it's like sometimes learning from the mistakes of others. It's
Yeah,
a lot cheaper
sometimes
than
that's what Etoro is good for as well. So in my day-to-day life, I don't know a whole lot of people that are interested in this kind of stuff. And sometimes I know they're trying to listen, but I know they don't actually understand anything I'm talking about. So I'll try and
correct.
talk to my wife about like, oh, this option chain's doing some crazy stuff, and she'll be like, I think she wants to
Yeah.
understand, but I think she just
It's the thing is just like it's like there is a level of passion that has to be involved in this, because you're looking at numbers, you're looking at data, you're looking at sort of intangibles that not everybody has in their mind. One of the things that I've learned like early on was just that when I started sort of sharing the information is like sometimes the people don't know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So it's like it's not that they're not interested, it's just they have no idea, right? Because they don't have the right piece of information that can link them to that, right? Because my background is economics, right? So I'm assuming everybody's an expert in economics when the reality is not, right?
Yeah, most people have no idea, don't even know what money is.
Correct. Or what they're working towards. Like that was one
Yeah.
of the things I definitely sort of focused on too, was just why am I like, right? Like I graduated university, it took me forever. Like I was also not a good student, finally managed to get through university. It took me like 7 years to, if my dad wasn't an angel, I wouldn't have graduated. But yeah, like why am I going to be working so long, right? Like why am I doing 8-hour days, 10-hour days, 11-hour days, right? And like right now I do even longer, right? Because I'm always
Because
thinking
I
about the
like it as
businesses.
well. So you work harder when
Exactly.
you like it. So I want the freedom to do that.
Yeah.
Like do
But
what I love.
yeah, and why, right? Like why am I earning this money? What does this money do for me, right? Like what was the sort of the critical thinking that I learned out like through my sort of like childhood, and that sort of allowed me to kind of get out there too, right? So
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. Okay. So let me ask you, do you remember your first investment at all?
It was Bitcoin. I think it was definitely Bitcoin.
Nice. Well, you entered in August 2017, so you rode that bull.
I did, and that bull threw me right off at the worst.
Yeah. I joined you at the peak. You know what I mean? I think my first sort of trade ever was buying Bitcoin in 2017.
But it was
Right? Like, and I
exciting as
bought
well because it was so volatile, and you could log on it with like the
Yeah.
10%'s just racking up, and like I was like, damn, this is
Yeah.
exciting. So easy to make money. I don't know why everyone's moaning.
Yeah. Well, but funny enough, like I think I bought 19K. So I bought at the peak of that rally.
You went
And then I had
hard.
to trade my way out of it in the next coming years. It was kind of crazy. Because I usually tend to lose money whenever I jump into something new. And then I start learning. Now I call it the tuition cost.
Yeah, right.
But,
I never go in heavy at the start anymore.
Yeah. No, for sure. Like, it's like you gotta, because that's one thing I also want to know later on in the episode is sort of what's your strategy and how do you sort of like position and what's your trading style and all of these different things. But, okay. So I want to know, we're talking about Bitcoin, we're talking about the crashes, right? I know that in 2018, you sort of rode the bull all the way down.
Yep.
Right. And I want to understand a little bit more. What were the things that you sort of learned? What was what was the learning from euphoria to reality, right? Because you got a real reality check on Etoro shows. That's one of the things I like about Etoro is that it shows your whole journey and the person you were at the beginning and the person you were at the end. So I want to know, right? 2018, how did it look?
Pure panic. I was like, it starts coming down a little bit. You're getting a bit twitchy. You start hitting a few sell buttons, but you think it's gonna recover. It's absolutely for sure gonna recover, and it gets worse. And then you put more money into your portfolios trying to buy the dip, and the dip keeps dipping. And it's not too bad in a normal market because the crypto was super volatile back then. Like if new people in the market don't quite understand the peaks and troughs of what crypto was like back then, it was wild. And I think at a certain point I thought, maybe I need to pivot into something new. And I don't think I've posted this anywhere before, but my next port of call for some absolutely strange reason was Forex. And that was a terrible idea. The leverage in some of those transactions was not a good idea, and that just sped up my fall to the bottom, which I think was towards the end of the year. So I pretty much spent the following January forgetting everything I'd already learned. I started again, started reading books, sensible investing, but kind of trying to remember what I'd learned about crypto and trying to draw on my history with tech. So I didn't want to just be in the SPY or something boring like a lot of beginner stuff recommends. I knew I could do better because I'd had the stomach for the pain, so I was able to risk a little bit. But I also had a very small account back then, so it wasn't, even though it was a lot of money to me back then, probably, how old would I have been? Mid-20s or something like that. It was probably a few grand, which in the grand scheme of things isn't a lot, but to me back then, that was like a couple of holidays.
It's a couple of holidays, a couple of months of rent. You know what I mean? It's quite a bit of shopping back in the day.
Yeah, it was painful.
Reality changes when money changes too, So, okay. So then how did you sort of come out of it? Because you mentioned one of the things you didn't do was give up, right? Because a lot of people, right, like whenever you go into crypto, right? And it's the first thing interaction you get, or you go into leverage, extreme high leverage, 100%, like, like 100x leverage on Forex is crazy. Yeah. Right? You think, oh, I know what exactly the Forex exchange or what the big whales are going to do. And the reality is you have no idea. You know what I mean? Like you can make predictions and you can make sort of like guesses on this, and then you sort of like start getting better. So what made you sort of like stick with it, right? And then continue to sort of like persevere through to then start getting that edge?
I think around about this time, a lot of the guys at work in crypto had made a more sensible decision. A lot of them bought houses at the top of the cycle and invested in harder assets and pivoted. I didn't do that, so I didn't really understand about rotation. So I learned a lot about rotation back then. I do rotate very often now. Maybe not. I'm not buying houses because I didn't make that much money in crypto, but I think it's just trial and error. You've got to try a lot of things, and in that month I did a lot of paper trading, that kind of stuff. I probably should have paper traded a lot longer. Maybe if I'd have spent that second year just paper trading to get a better grip on it. But I was lucky during that bear market that there was a lot of cheap companies around at that time. So I knew tech, and I knew some of the tech companies I was investing. I think it was Corsair and some stuff like that. Back then they were like bigger companies. Well, probably not bigger, more popular maybe. And I saw opportunities there that I understood. Maybe I hadn't quite mastered valuing companies and knowing what price I was willing to pay for them, but I understood enough to know that I was getting an opportunity to make money back that I'd lost, not using leverage.
Yeah. Now, because this will be interesting in the next segment, to understand sort of how now you approach it basically, because like whenever you use a tool like leverage, right? Like it's a double-edged sword. Yeah. You can go up really fast, but it can also come down really fast, right? And how the volatility drag sort of affects the sort of gains and losses is also true. And yeah, for sure. It's an interesting, leverage in itself is an interesting one, because I remember one of my first trades on Etoro was like a leverage oil trade. And I was like, oh my God, I lost $100, which in reality, like, like in the grand scheme of things is a small trade,
right? Losing $100 back then, to be honest.
Yeah, back in the day, for sure,
Now I'm
at
like,
the end of the day, now it's normal, right? Like my portfolio moves way more.
Fees on some things.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the truth. Okay, nice. So based on sort of like all of the things, right? So I want to understand, right? Because you've gone through losses and you've gone through heavy losses, right? So it's like, how do you sort of keep yourself calm nowadays after facing something like that, right?
I think the only way to get used to facing that is to go through it, right? If you've never been through a market that painful, and I might have gone through one of the most painful ones in recent history, probably in my lifetime. I wouldn't count the COVID crash because that was such a fast recovery. But having gone through that, everything else seems like nothing really, especially when you understand the flow of money and rates and how liquidity changes the system. When you understand when they put that money in, where it's going to end up, it makes it a lot easier to go, balls deep. So you know when to really lean into things. And I think having that understanding makes you able to tolerate a lot more pain when you know that it's going to be worth it with a little bit of patience. It's not the way the world is now. They're not going to allow, long, deep recessions. They will stimulate the heck out of it as much as they can. And if they don't, then your money's tied up a little bit longer. It's just patience.
Yeah. No, I find that to be true, and the thing is just like we always find a way, like humanity always does find a way to kind of like get through it, It's like, the world has been ending for years now,
Oh
you
yeah,
know? So
every
it's
day
like,
something catastrophic's coming. You just gotta keep going. If something
yeah,
that bad happens, having some money in the stock market's not really going to change much anyway. Just make
yeah,
sure you've got enough money for your day-to-day life separately, and you can afford to live. And a lot of people say it wouldn't recommend buying a house. I probably the opposite. I think you should absolutely buy a house when you've got the opportunity, because that's a really hard asset that you've always got,
yeah,
even if it loses a lot of value. Does it matter? Because you've still got a roof over your head.
yeah. Yeah, as long as the thing is just like it's as long as you sort of like put the money wherever you need to sort of like what are your necessities, right? And like
Mm,
it's the equation has always been the same. Reduce your cost, live
mhm,
in less than what you make, right? And then just and if you can reduce your cost by buying a property and you're not planning to move anytime soon, right?
mm.
Like buying property is fantastic, right? And I
Yeah.
just think like and diversifying and making sure that you have sort of because the more people you have to worry about, right? Like if you have a family, you have to worry about the kids, and it's like
Mm,
you can't just take the same risks. So everybody
yeah.
trades differently, and that's one thing I love about talking to investors and other people that are going through this journey is just you find everybody's different, right?
Yeah.
Everybody finds their own way, you know. And even for crashes, because funny enough, like one of the things I heard this quote, you know, and it's like it touched so many nerves, right? It's like I don't think you get accustomed to the crash. I just think you get mentally and physically stronger, right?
Mm.
Because whenever you see a crash, you start panicking. But the
I
reality
don't
is
really
that
panic anymore though. I'm more
you get
excited. I'm
excited,
like, damn, lots
right?
of money.
Exactly. So it's like your brain has gotten accustomed to the idea and it and now understands that it's not a panic mode. It's a
Mm.
hey, everything is getting a discount, right? So it's like you hear that with many different investors that have been through the crashes and have been through the opportunities that you're able to find those diamonds in the rough and then take advantage of that, right?
Yeah,
So
there's just opportunity to buy companies that have been trading at high multiples for a long time. In these bear markets, you can buy great companies that aren't going anywhere. The Amazon, the Mag 7, even they get a silly price, and you can still make great
correct.
returns for like the next few years on those. So you don't
Yeah.
have to learn loads about like really small companies. You can stick with the big boys; they'll be fine.
Yeah. And get a little bit of risk, get accustomed to it, and always keep on learning because that's one
Mm.
thing I've learned is because at the beginning of my trading career, I never sort of went in like, you know, it's like I would pay attention. Like I think it took me like 3 to 4 years to start trading different events, you know, and it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
all of a sudden it's like something I learned in year 2 becomes profitable in year 6 or year 5.
Mm.
And it's like, whoa, okay, let's get going. So that's super interesting. Okay, so let me ask you now that we're talking sort of about sort of like okay, like what does it take and how sort of I want to understand how your process goes. What is it that you do nowadays compared to what you used to do before that sort of gives you that conviction? Because at the end of the day, there's a lot about conviction in this market or in
Hmm.
this sort of business, right? How do you increase that conviction and that trust in yourself that you're making the right decision?
I think, I mean, a lot of people always say a top-down approach, but it's very much true. The economy always moves in cycles, and knowing where we are in that cycle can help you determine which sectors are likely to do best. So even in a bear market, I still understand now that there's going to be sectors that are going to rotate out of it faster. So then I build my portfolio in that manner, but it's macro kind of sector and then it's specific companies, and I'm finding little pockets of value in there. But I'm not just a value investor or a growth investor, so I'll change. Basically, I just look for where I think Mr. Market's got it wrong, something they don't understand, a high growth company that they think's going to die, or a big boy that they've had an event like UNH lately that I don't think the economy is going to get that right on the recovery of that. I think they've over panicked, and that's an opportunity, right? So there's loads of different opportunities wherever the market's mispricing things, and I think after a while you just learn the best misvaluations for your strategy. So for me, that'll be different for you. I think your strategy is slightly different to mine. You prefer more
100%.
the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the bigger companies, especially on eToro. So I would say you're more value-y for eToro.
The thing is just like,
You have
yes,
the riskier ones in smaller positions, so it's portfolio building, right? Portfolio
yeah,
structure.
yeah, yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
I'm the opposite.
No, yeah. Well, I see. Well, because the thing is you call yourself a trader and an investor, so you're
Yeah.
doing both things at the same time. For eToro, the thing is like mostly for eToro, I'm an investor. I would say, like
Hmm.
I'm planning to keep my money in these companies for a while. I don't want to be worried, right? Like it's other people's money as well that I have something I have to consider, right? So it's like
Hmm.
I'm finding companies that I find value in, and if I find them at a good price, great, you know. And I'm hoping to get out. I do trade a little bit in and out, but it's nothing major, but I'm always paying attention because this is my full time job. right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like my other portfolios are always moving in and out, and I'm trying to find value and learning new products, new things,
Hmm.
options, futures, all that, right? So that's where it becomes interesting. So you mentioned also, because you're also trading options as well.
Yes, obviously eToro doesn't offer that. I think they've started to offer it in some pockets, but they've not linked to the
Everything.
accounts, which is frustrating. But I think that would be risky on eToro for them to do that.
Yeah. Well, if it's a copy portfolio, one of the things that's always scares me, it's like, it's like you might have like the best returns and then all of a sudden you can just crash. You know what I mean? Like you have
Mm.
one bad day and you think, oh, I'm going to make it all back. And that's one thing about
Yeah.
the copy trading, which can be scary, right? But history tells you that, history tends to rhyme. So if somebody's out like doing well and has learned from the mistakes and you can
Hmm.
understand, which is one of the reasons I want to do this sort of like series, is because I want to sort of get that. I want to give the sort of perspective behind the trader and the person behind the portfolio in that sense, right? Okay. So based on your process, because I see you go heavy sometimes, right? So you go
Yeah.
10% on a position, 30% on a sector, right? So how do you sort of like depict that, and do you do something differently in other places?
Really, it's just I'm working on so it's kind of sector driven in a way. So my current thesis is the next half year to a year will be crypto driven. So I've leaned my portfolio into that. I've got my core positions, which I would say are the less risky ones, so Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, and then I've got my kind of swing trades and riskier like SBET or the miners, which I've just started rotating out of. And then I think more ahead, what's coming up? We know we're getting rate cuts. We know the housing sector is going to start doing better on that. We know energy is getting a good looking. We know financials are going to get better. So I start pivoting and growing those positions ready for the next cycle up, and then the Bitcoin stuff and crypto will start rotating into that. And it's always a cycle. It's always just going round and round just to do that. Obviously, if eToro offered options, there would be more hedging, so there'd be less volatility in the portfolio. But they don't offer that. So the best we can do, because I don't like shorting, is maybe I make some trades on the VIX every now and again just to offset that. But really, that's just been so low lately, and I don't want to hold a long position on that for a long time because it will just get eaten. So there's
Yeah.
not much hedging you can do. You can do some currency hedging, but like we talked about earlier, I got absolutely destroyed with Forex and I don't want to touch it again. I know that's a hard no for me. So I have to deal with the volatility by just growing out of it faster.
Okay. I get you. I get you. All right. And let me ask you, so I would say, like, what are the rules for you to make a decision on choosing an asset, right? So if you had to sort of like put your process in an ABC list of things
That's
you do.
a good question because I don't actually have a specific set of rules. I know a lot of gurus out there. You've got to have rules, rules, rules. I think when I'm doing my day trading, that's very rule driven, very pattern driven. I'm very strict on what I'm buying and selling. But for investing, it's really just I've got rules that you've got to do a lot of research and you've got to understand I need to figure out the price I'm willing to pay for that company, and not necessarily the intrinsic value, because that's different to what my interpretation of that value is. I want to know what my hard limit on this company is and have an understanding of how fast I think it's going to grow and price that in. But really, there's not a specific rule. It's like, say, one size doesn't fit all in this scenario. There's so many different companies in the market.
No, it's the truth. I find that is like, because like I was telling you before, right? Like maybe you learn something one time
Mm.
that maybe affects the way that you look at this one company. And sometimes you're looking for value, but sometimes you're looking for just like the market is mispricing this, right? So
Yeah,
it's like value and mispricing are two very different things, right?
yeah.
And getting those sort of like ideas and everything sort of changes, right? Like even the short that I was talking, like the shorted company that I was talking to you about,
Hmm.
RKT, right? That's an interesting one too, right? Like that's not normally how
Very
I would
odd that
invest.
one is. Yeah, it's very odd. It's unusual.
Yeah, right. So when you get all of this data, that's sort of like, okay, like maybe I'm going to take a hit at it, but obviously, like I don't have it in my Etoro portfolio because
Mm.
I don't see that as a sort of like the idea that I'm trying to sort of portray. But I see value there, right? So and I'm
Yeah.
willing to take that risk.
So I did
Also,
take
let
a
me ask.
swing on it in eToro, just a very small one though, and it did. I did close it green.
Okay.
Yeah, it was obviously risky positions, very small. I think
Yeah.
people make
So
that mistake a
let
lot.
me ask you that, right? Because how do you define risk in investing or trading? I guess.
A risky position for me is going to be like a really small micro cap. Enovix is a good example of that. I really like the tech, but because they're so small, they've got a lot of risk associated with scaling up, especially in manufacturing. That's going to be tough. And for a fairly new company, there's always going to be scandals and stuff. Even established companies can have scandals. Obviously, UNH and Tesla, they're all exposed to that kind of stuff. Risk for me is just making sure the upside is a lot bigger than the downside. And if it's going to be a value swing, so I'll be looking for a much smaller return, but the company in that situation is going to be a lot more established. So it depends on what I'm looking for. If it's going to be something I'm looking for high returns in, I want the risk to be a lot smaller, a lot more, not smaller, what's the word?
Contain.
Quantifiable. So I just want to make sure that I understand where that risk is and give it a probability. But that also makes it hard to make rules for that stuff.
Okay.
You're really just guessing a little bit, but it's an educated guess, which is what we do all the time in the markets, right?
It's the truth, right? Like the thing is just like, for example, I have a group of friends that are investing in Nvidia, and they're heavy on Nvidia, like heavy. Like I am the bear in that group on Nvidia, and I'm still holding the company. So you can imagine how bullish they are. And it's like I'm just like, I'm at the point that I'm like, I just don't know what I don't know. Like, what if Jensen is lying? You know what I mean? Like, what if he's lying?
Yeah,
I don't know the guy.
it's great company. It's great company, but for me,
it's fantastic.
It's not got enough growth for me now because it's so big, right? I'm not looking for that smaller rate of return. I'm looking for bigger.
No, the thing is just like it could get to a pricing that, like, you know, like back in the day when it was at 90, like it just made sense. You know what I mean? So it was because it was like one of the things you mentioned was that sometimes the market gets it wrong. And in Nvidia, like I think that the market did not understand what they were buying. Right? Like everybody was like, I'm buying Nvidia because AI, but it's like I don't understand how the process goes, what are the chips are trying to do here, and how DeepSeek sort of like panicked the market when the reality was like, yo, like this is just, it's better. We're getting better stuff because of what they're building. We're gonna continue to get better stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I did take a swing on Nvidia when it had the Chinese restrictions coming in because I was like, that's never going to last. Absolutely, I'm taking that swing. But there, you know, pockets of opportunity in different. But you looked at it from a different perspective from me, but
correct.
It still was.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing, right? Like sometimes you like the perspective based on your risk parameters allows you to take a position and maybe not, right? And that's totally okay, right? Because everybody sort of understands it differently, right? You've grown up differently. We've sort of like done things differently, accomplished many different things, maybe the same things in a different way, right?
Yeah.
So that's the path, right? And I think both are okay, right? Like both are, as long as you're willing to sort of take on the risk and go in and take a position and be confident in what you're doing, and sometimes you're going to get it wrong. It's part of the market, right? Like
I get plenty wrong. I think people are under the impression that I'm infallible. I do close trades in the red a lot of the time, but a lot of them just coincidentally tend to be the positions that are a lot smaller. I think for me, the biggest loss I've had recently wasn't actually technically a loss. I rotated from CleanSpark because I don't like the way the company's going this last quarter. But I made enough money on it last year that I still ended up closing the overall position very profitably. So it's not technically a loss, but there are other stuff. Can't actually remember one now that I closed in the red. Typically, I tend to close a lot of mine just for opportunity cost a lot of the time. Something else is more exciting.
But I get you. Like sometimes taking the loss is okay because if something else can make you more money and the parameters are better, why not change, right?
Yeah, for sure.
At least that's the way that I see it too. Let me ask you one thing. I want to know sort of like give me 2 tools. It could be websites, it could be things, it could be, what are 2 tools that you're using on a daily basis, or not on a daily basis, or on a consistent basis that is something important? Like I can tell you mine. So for example, one of the things I really like to pay attention to just to keep up to date with the news is financial juice, right? I'm always on there, right? Whenever something happens in the market and I see a red candle, first place I go is financial juice. See what Trump said. You know what I mean?
So I get all my news on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it these days, just because it's on there so fast. So I'm mostly on there, or I'll use Trade Vision, I think it's called now. Fiscal AI I use a lot, but anything with more visual information on it, because I hate reading balance sheets and stuff like that. Like I can't digest that information as well as I can if I'm looking at a chart and overlaying stuff. Yeah, mainly apps that make things pretty to look at I'll use. None of this
Okay.
just lists of data. I can't process that. I'm terrible.
Are you using TweetDeck? I'm assuming you're using TweetDeck.
TweetDeck? No.
No? But you know
No.
about it. But you know
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it. Okay,
Not a whole lot,
good.
to be honest.
Because I try to share it with everybody, because we have the Etoro sort of like popular investor bonus, which is nice. So then it's like, but many people didn't know about it. So I just try to share it just in case. Just,
I'm not sure. Not really looked into it, to be honest. I don't either. I mean, forgot we even had the Wall Street Journal access till you mentioned it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Well, there's a lot of perks that kind of come with
Yeah.
it too. But yeah. It's kind of good. Okay. All right. So let me ask you. Okay. You could be doing this. You could be focusing on your job, trading your own investments or forgetting about it. I want to know why you find sort of like this sort of passion for sharing your content and keeping people updated and your community updated with all of the updates on Tesla, on the important investments that you're doing. Every single time there's a shift, you're grabbing videos and posting them. By the way, the link is below if you wanna find Jody on YouTube.
Yeah, I think it's just like we talked about earlier. I don't have a lot of people in my day-to-day life, and rather than chewing my best friend's ear off about something she's not really that interested in, if I can talk to people online about it, and initially that's what was good about Etoro and kept me there, because I mean, there's a lot more PI content on the wall these days, so there's a lot more information. But if you can get a good group of people that will interact with you a lot, and you share ideas, and they'll listen to my opinions, and then they'll come back and be like, I don't agree with you, or yeah, I also agree. Here's why. That's the kind of engagement I really, really enjoy online. Just having that back and forth, and even talking to you and Mimi, we share a lot of ideas. But I wouldn't have any of those ideas if I just talked to my best friend about stuff, because she doesn't know a lot of the things we're looking at. She might suggest Meta's been in the news, that might be a good investment, something along those lines, which she might be right. I mean, she's hit the nail on the head a few times. But yeah, for me, it's just the social side of it, especially on eToro. Under no delusions that it's going to be my main day job at any point from a job perspective. PI as a scheme does pay well, but it's not as good as the actual returns I'm generating from my portfolio, which is another reason I don't slow my growth rate on there, if that makes sense. So I don't want to change how I'm investing, because I'm investing for me still. This money that I'm growing in my equity is for my future.
Okay. All right. So then that's interesting. That's interesting, because that takes me to my next question. It's like, are you investing on eToro for yourself or for other people? I'm assuming for yourself.
For myself, yeah. And I mean, sometimes obviously we see accounts on eToro that they put how much their portfolio is on there, and we know they are worth way more than they're investing on there, but they sell it like that's their nest egg. And to me, I find that quite false. I don't think they're going to manage that money as well as they could, because it's only a small percentage of their overall wealth. For me, that is a game-changing amount of money in my portfolio and other portfolios. So I'm going to protect it more because it's mine, if that makes sense. So I almost feel maybe I'm being selfish, but it feels more important to me to protect that, and then you're also with me on that ride, rather than saying the other way around. I'm protecting my money first.
Like the thing is just like, I think, if I start investing for other people, right, like my goals might be different, right? Like my goals, my risk management, what I'm willing to do here, like I do sort of change it a little bit, because I'm like, okay, like I'm more long-term focused, right? So it's like, I'm like, in the sense, I'm not taking as many trades as I could, or I'm not, like, if I see maybe a little bit more value, I'm a little bit more restricted, because I'm like, okay, like it's just like, I'm gonna do it, but it's like I need to have a level of certainty that's higher than normal in order for me to go to those trades. Right? But I don't think it's to that extent where it's like if I see something and my copiers don't like it, I couldn't care less. Like, stop copying me if you want. I don't care, right? Like, if I see something I don't like, I'm going to get out of the position, or I'm going to move it, or I'm going to do something. And at any point, you can hit that stop copying me button, and I'm okay with that, because most of my bulk of my money is coming from my investments and my things. So I need to take care of me. And by me taking care of me and my portfolio, I'm doing the best that I can with your money. But again, like, I'm willing to take the downturns. For example, this year, I was holding my companies and I was holding my portfolio steady, because I knew that the market was overpricing the sort of the Trump reaction to the tariffs. Right? And some popular investors were like, I can't believe you didn't sell. And I'm like, bro, like, your way of investing is very different to mine. The fact that Trump is setting up tariffs to China does not change the fact that I'm going to make massive amounts of money with Nvidia. Does not.
Yeah.
It's like, and I see this as an opportunity, buy more. One of the things that I called out, I was just like, a 96 is a gift. You know what I mean? So I told everybody. And like right now, I'm the same in the same boat with Google. I think Google is extremely well priced.
Yeah, I
right?
think I've had opportunities like that where I think I got in really low on Meta when that crashed and everyone,
I'm still
said
biting
it's
myself on that
dying.
one.
But
Yeah.
I'm annoyed I sold out last year. But everyone gets a bit aggy saying you're holding this company when if you looked at the balance sheet, it's crazy.
Yeah.
They'll be fine.
Yeah. They're
And
printing
I'll be
money.
wrong on occasion when I have companies like that, but
And that's okay.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And that's okay. It's just like sometimes people think that everybody has the same goals in the market. And it's like somebody that has a $200 account is not the same as somebody that has $2 million in the account.
no, I
Or
will not
$5 million.
be investing the way I am now if it was $2 million.
Yeah, and like would like the thing is just like I believe that some part of my portfolio likes the way that I'm investing now. But if I have 10 million in the account, like I don't have to go in with the 10 million and I'm never going to change my strategy. One of the things about changing the world is changing your mind first, right? Nobody that ever changes their mind changes the world. So the only way you can change the world is by thinking differently and accepting that sometimes you might be wrong, right? So it's one of the things I like to consider too. It's just, it's like this is for me. And it's like I will make the best decision with my money. And if you put your money on top of mine, I'm trying to do the best.
Yeah, I think as well, if I tried to change that, my strategy wouldn't work for me either. So I'm essentially inviting a different kind of risk into my portfolio by trying to change the structure of it, and it would not go well. I think that's how you get blow up. So that's when you get people take too much risk to try and get stuff back as well.
Yeah, and if you're trying to if you're trying to get to this those crazy returns just because you're trying to get more copiers or you're trying to do I'm doing this for me. I'm just sharing my journey. You don't even have to copy me. You can just buy the companies I'm buying in my portfolio.
I've got
I always tell people
always interact on my portfolio asking me about stuff, and they're not copiers, but they engage so much. I'm like, yeah, I've just bought this today, and this is why, and we have a good conflab about it. It's a good chat.
And sometimes that's what I want. It's like the reason I do the episodes and the reason I do the market bus and all that stuff is because I like the conversations, just like you. I like the community side of it. I like to be able to debate with people, and I want people to tell me I'm wrong. Like, tell me why I'm wrong, and then I'll see if I have analyzed that part of my thesis or not. So it's like it's important. It's important.
Yeah. Sometimes it gets a little competition-y as well, though, because they'll be like, I bought it at a better price than you. I'll be like, that's because I told you about it, and I already bought it.
I told you about it before I finished my thesis, so you're welcome. You're welcome. Let me ask you this. So far, what's been the most sort of like the happiest part of this journey that you've had on Etoro so far?
Happiest.
Or maybe the most fulfilling part of the whole investing journey together. It doesn't have to be the Etoro part.
I really like it when I get sometimes people on my feed put really nice stuff and just really thankful. It doesn't happen loads, but just having that is really good confirmation that I'm actually helping someone. I'm not trying to, it's just nice to feel useful sometimes, isn't it? So feel like what I've learned has benefited someone else, and then hopefully they can learn and they can catch the fish on their own. Sometimes they'll come to me with a company and I won't like it, and they've used the same tools I have and they've invested and they've done really well on it, but they've different risk profiles to me. So to me, seeing people use the tools I use is really good as well. And obviously when your portfolio grows over the years, that feels
It's
good.
nice too. Yeah.
Like
when
that.
your net worth number goes up, it's kind of nice too. Don't get me wrong. Cool. So let me ask you, how does success look in 10 years? Like after you doing this for the next 10 years, how would you say, okay, yeah, this has been worth my time?
Obviously I'm married, so me and my wife, we talk about the future every now and again, and I think we're both in agreement that neither of us want to work, but we probably still would, but we'll have jobs that we actually like doing. So maybe she will continue to work for charities, maybe I'll do some charity work as well. I think I'm still going to be investing. Maybe my strategy's changed, maybe I'm a little bit more passive, maybe I'm dropping my KGA down to market averages 15. Well, that's higher than average, but if you're having a multi-million-dollar account, do you need to make 30-40% a year? You can just be risk off, have it in the SPY. Maybe you go more of a satellite type portfolio, and you just you only need 9% of a few million to support several people for the rest of their life. You don't need to make home runs for perpetuity.
No, and when you find value too, I mean, look at Warren Buffett. He's sitting on how many dollars in treasuries, and he's getting a pretty penny out of
Oh,
those
it's easy money,
investments.
but it's going to take me a while to get up to that level, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I believe with
Yeah, well,
40% returns
yeah,
compounded through 10 years, we're talking about crazy returns here.
yeah. I think
You just got to keep up.
the
You
market,
know what I mean?
the volatility in the market these days makes it quite easy to compound that high, but eventually, I
Yeah,
think the market's going to slow
it's
down
gonna
a bit
come down
anyway.
at some point,
Yeah, it can't
right?
be like this
Because
forever.
yeah, because the rotation that you say is very important, right? Like it's talking about potentially just like, okay, like set up your defenses, right? Like your sort of like your, I like to call it fuck you money, right?
Yeah.
Like what's your fuck you money number, right? Where everything on top of that is gravy.
Mm,
But you can, then that's your defense. Yeah, that's your castle of solitude, as many people call it too, right?
yeah.
It's just no matter what happens, I'm
What's your
solid here.
what's your fuck you money amount? Just out of curiosity.
Like, so they say 2 million.
Hmm.
Apparently it's a 2 million number, but it depends on sort of the lifestyle and it changes for everybody, right? But I mean, fuck you money for me right now, it's 200K, right? Like, I mean, I've already achieved those numbers, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, I've gotten to the point that it's like, how many years can I live off 200Ks? I've reduced my sort of expenses so much that I've gotten to a point where like during this, like I stopped paying myself for my business because I
Hmm.
was like, hey, like I don't need it, right? Like I'm just like I'm seeing like I'm putting everything in the markets right now. I think I see the value here,
For
and
sure.
then that has paid off. You know what I mean? So it's like with that sort of, but I can do that. I'm in a position where I can do that, right? If I have a $10,000 portfolio, I'm not in a position to do that,
Hmm.
right? So it's like you want to grow it and get to the point and sort of use your advantage, which for your case is probably IT, right? Like if you're doing IT work and that's where a bulk of the money is,
Yeah.
don't ever stop doing that or something along those lines because that's what you're good at.
Yeah. I am
You know what I
looking to
mean?
leave IT, to be honest. So I'm
Okay.
like kind of what you say. I'm now approaching a position where I can leave, but I've worked at this company for 12 years, so I'm quite
Yeah.
comfortable. I find it easy, even though it's getting frustrating lately. But it's more time. Time is starting to become the currency I'm more interested in.
Correct. That's one thing I've like, it's like it's whenever I can free up my time. And the thing is like I free up my time, like you say, to work on the things that I want to work on,
Mm.
right? So it's like most of like I don't live a lavish lifestyle, right? Like I share a car with my family. You know what I mean? It's like and it's five of us. Like my mom and I drive. And it's like I share a car with my family because I'm like I want a nice car,
Mm.
right? But I don't want to go into debt for a nice car. Like I
Oh,
want to be
no,
able to
no.
buy 10 cars before
Pet
I
hate
go
to
into
me
that.
people buying cars when they've got no money.
Right. And it's like, oh, I have a Porsche. And it's like, okay, how much? Like, it's like, I prefer to have, like, I told Dimitri's the other day, I prefer to have that in NVIDIA. You know what I mean? It's
Mm.
like NVIDIA is so much greater than a Porsche right now, for sure.
Yeah, I'd
It's
still
like, what am
buy
I
an
going to,
old
I'm
car,
driving
to
to the
be honest.
shop. It's like, so that's where I'm sort of like playing. What, my question to you then is, what's your number? Because the thing is like, for me, it's 200K, right? But then I have also like, my real number, like, would be like, I would say like somewhere in the, like, after two is kind of nice,
Same.
depending on where you live. 2 million and then 10 million is solid. Like, you know what I mean? That's a next level. And then you want to sort of go like, I want a billion. I want to get to a billion.
Mm.
That's my goal. You know what I mean? Will I get there? I have no idea, but I want to get to a
Good
billion.
to have high targets, though.
Yeah. You
The
got to aim for
goal
the
is
fences. And
yours
as long as it
slightly.
gets somewhere between you and the fences, you're good to go.
Yeah. I'm
But what about you?
probably a few million. I want to be able to provide for my wife. We don't have children, so we don't have that to worry about. We already live in a house probably bigger than we need. I don't want people always want to buy a mansion. It's too big.
It's
It's
too much work. It's too much work. My
no.
house is tiny and it's work. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I
I'm
don't want
not
to be
interested.
dusting.
We
I don't
look
want
at
to be
nice
dusting.
houses, but it's more we'd probably prefer a smaller house with a lot of land or something like that. So
Yeah.
enough money. So 2 or 3 million, I'd say, would be fine to support most of our direct family with a good solid income, with a very low risk portfolio that I'm not really touching that equity, and we can hand that equity off to the next generation in our families,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So nothing massive. I don't want a sports car. I mean, we're buying a camper van, and that's probably the most expensive car I'll ever buy. But it's not just to drive to work in; it's to go on holidays and stuff.
Yeah.
And other than that, I mean, we do like to go on a lot of holidays and stuff, but we're not going like 5-star hotels and staying there for a month and all that stuff. We're quite modest people, really, I would say. So, I mean, a lot of people say a few million's quite a lot, but even a normal pension can attain that level in a lifetime. It's not a massive number, really, especially if
Yeah.
inflation's going to keep nibbling.
eat it away. Yeah, that's true. It's like that's the biggest risk that many people take that they don't realize. It's just the fact that they do nothing with their money. It's just,
Mm,
yeah, you're losing
yeah.
tons of value. It's like
I
I
was
remember
pissed when
like
I
one
found
of
out
the
about inflation.
yeah, it's funny because like I have it's like sort of like the circle around me is like the biggest investment I have is a Bank of America bank account that I'm elite on or I'm gold on, and it's like, bro, like they're saving you what, $20 on a transfer fee.
Mm,
It's like put 5K on a treasury and you're making that and you're making 10x that,
mm,
right? So it's like, and that's where it's like understanding. It's just like I like to understand money and I like to understand my time and I want to free it up to do the things, because the thing is like I don't want to not do. I don't want to sit on a beach and like
oh my god, it's boring after a day.
yeah, you know what I mean. Okay, great. Like I've gotten my tan, great, fantastic. But then I want to do work. You know what I mean. I want to share with people. I want to like talk about the things that I want to do, and like I want to sort of like find the people that are going to help me build the world that I want to see. Right? Because that's the one thing I want to do is just leave everybody that knows me in a better place. That's all I
Mm,
want to do. Whether it's 1 step or 10 step or 100 steps, right? So yeah, it's one thing I find is yeah, everybody's journey is different, but yeah, I find that yeah, I find that to be an interesting one for sure.
yeah,
Okay,
especially a lot of people in my family don't have a plan for the future, so I almost feel a responsibility that I am the
yeah,
plan. So you don't like my dad, he's getting on a bit now, and I want to be able to make sure he's going to be comfortable as he gets older. And my
yeah,
wife's parents, I want to make sure they're comfortable. They've been a bit more savvy with their money, so I don't feel as responsible for them, but I certainly want to be
yeah.
able to be that fallback for them, because I don't think my sister's got a pension or anything. I don't
Yeah,
think
it's
she would have
crazy
taught her
because
children to have pensions
yeah,
either.
yeah. Because even in the UK, I think 14% of people have stocks and shares ISA. Like
Mm,
14% of all of the UK. Like it took a foreigner to understand those rules. You know what I mean? Like I came here and I had to understand the whole tax system. But
mm.
yeah, pension like cash ISAs is somewhere in the 50%, which I hate cash ISAs,
They're
but
just, what's the point?
just open up a stocks and shares ISA and then just put it in a freaking money market fund
You
and you're
can
good.
get any ETF that will
It's a lack of
outperform that co-op
understanding, I
each,
think.
but yeah.
And then so yeah, okay. So what I'm getting from this is that what you're looking for is sort of like a financial freedom to then dictate your
Mm,
own sort of like life, right? Whether it's you
yeah.
and your partner or kind of okay. Similar for me. I want to change the world.
Mm,
I want to get that freedom, but that's just one of the steps that I want to do, and then kind of like share this with as many people as possible to kind of like, because the thing is just like many people complain about the government, but they're leaving all of their eggs in the government's basket, which is just like, give me
yeah.
the pension, and
I
give me.
mean, the
I don't
government
trust
never
government.
changes, so they're kind of predictable what they're going to do. So
Yeah,
if you can structure your assets in a way to take advantage of what they're going to do, then you'll be fine.
correct. So let me ask you this. The mindset, right? So what's your mindset whenever it's sort of like investing kind of comes along? How do you look at money? Like, what is this? What is money? How do you define money for
I
yourself?
used to be really, I don't know, I used to be really scroogey with my money. Like I would always put it in the stock market or buy something. But I think when I was younger, I used to pretty much, set fire to my money and spend all the time. And as I've got older,
Yes.
I got married and then I started to be the opposite. I started to be like, oh, I need to make sure all my ducks are in a row. And my wife, bless her, she's like, you need to, start spending a bit more of your money. So after my mum passed away earlier in the year, we've started to spend some of that money, which has been quite nice. I think I needed it at the right time. So it's finding a balance. I think when you've got a partner as well, it helps you notice what you're doing. And now I'm a bit more like, let's just go on trips and eat at nice restaurants, that kind of stuff. Whereas before I'd be like, that's like a few £100s that I could stick in my investment portfolio.
And I can compound it at 25% or
Yeah, I'm like,
45%
I'm not
returns,
making
and then if
interest on this
20
delicious
years
dinner.
time, yeah. Nah, the reality. I'm sorry to hear about your mom, by the way.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah. Because my mom currently has cancer, and it's like it kind of gives you a little bit of perspective on that too. It's kind of yeah,
Yeah, it's
it kind of
shit.
changed some life.
But yeah, it
Yeah,
does make you appreciate that
yeah.
time really is more what it's
And
about than money.
it's funny because there is a value to money, but not many people put a value to time.
Mm,
And it's like sometimes that time might actually be more valuable than the money that you have around. The perspective, it just gives you a little bit more perspective of just
yeah,
what am I doing with that time too, which is another asset. I think it's the only true asset we really have. The cost of something is nothing more than the time it took you to acquire it.
yeah. It certainly changed my look on money the last year, and I think I'm still going to be able to grow it as well. I'm not taking any money from Etoro. Well, I say I might take some at the end of the year because my portfolios are going to need rebalancing and stuff. I don't want too big of a pie in certain areas, but I don't plan on leaving Etoro or anything to spend all of my account money.
Yeah. No, I get you for
Yeah.
sure. But it's the thing is just like like when you put money in an investment account, it's for your future self.
Mm-hmm.
But even if there is risk in that future self,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? There is a risk that tomorrow you walk outside and then Tesla's Starlink dish falls on you, and you're well, the probability is
That
so
would be the
low.
ultimate karma, wouldn't it? Like, ow.
Elon's Starlink, but yeah, you know what I mean. So it's like always kind of like it's also like a risk balancing thing in a sense, right? Where it's like enjoying it and kind of like defense, and we talked about defense. We talked about a little bit enjoying too, and that is okay. That is okay. Like because you're doing all of this work because it's work, right? Analyzing and studying and all of these different things in order to sort of like have a better life, right? And a bigger number in the bank account sometimes is not the better life, right? So
yeah. Although it does annoy me when people say money can't buy happiness because I'm like,
it buys security, it buys all of the things around it, you know what I mean? But I don't think happiness is something. I think the pursuit of it is the happiness itself, right? Like I don't think happiness is a place where you just get to, right? So you can't just buy a place. It's like you're buying the things that can get you there closer, but having too much money can also be a problem.
Yeah, I know plenty of rich people that are not happy. It certainly solves a lot of especially when you grow up poor, you realize a lot of issues come from not having money. So I think that's correct. It can be fixed.
Yeah.
But, the other stuff you've got to work on your own, I guess.
Yeah. No, money solves money problems, and money problems when you have no money, they're big because they are life problems, But then it gets to a point that I think, and I'm not saying, it's like whenever you make 50K or no, right? Like it depends. Everybody's different, right? Everybody has different expenses, different things they want, different things. Like the question is do you want it or do you want to show it off, right? Like, do you really need a nice car? I'm not saying don't get it. Like if you have the money for it, go for it, right? Like if you want, it's
gotta be like disposable level money though, right?
Yeah.
There's a guy, we live in quite a nice village, and there's some little terrace house, and I think one of them's got a Maserati parked outside, and I'm just like, why wouldn't you live in the house? You don't live in the car. Just buy a nicer house. But
it's probably in real estate.
Yeah,
he's probably in real estate.
Maybe it's just a loan.
It could be, or maybe he has the money. That's the thing, It's like you never fully know. It's kind of difficult to say, but some people, like I tell you, like even like a massive house, like I'm looking at it and it's like, I want to like my house has my flat, because I live in a flat. It's like a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and it's an office, a storage room, and my room, and that's it. It's like, and it's still such a pain to kind of get everything done. And the bigger, like I don't need anything more than this. I don't want anything more than this.
Yeah.
Like if I get a partner, maybe one more room. But yeah, there is a cost to all of these different things. It's like you become a slave to the things you end up buying anyways.
Yeah.
Whether it's one of the things I hate about the car is whenever something messes up and I have to go, and it's like I don't want to go fix it. Like why isn't it work? It's like the car's meant to work for me. Why am I working for the car?
Yeah, I don't actually drive many places anymore. Most of my work is kind of remote, and the local shops here are like a 5-minute walk. So
nice. It's the nice thing about the UK. It's like very walkable. Very walkable.
Sometimes I just went to Portugal for a stag event, and oh my god, my legs were hurting so bad when I got my calves. I had cramp in my calves at night. It was so bad. Wow. Not used to walking that far, even though I play football.
So let me ask you. So what's your future hold like? Because I know you're working on the Craft2Trader. I know your website. Your website is fantastic, by the way. If anybody's looking for information about the companies that Jody holds, check out the links in the comments below. They're fantastic resources, fantastic knowledge to be out there. I was reading some of it, and it's like you go deep.
I need to update it with my core positions have changed a bit, so I'm just working on that.
Yeah,
a lot of my new core positions are really complicated to explain. So VG and UNH, they're not easy to grasp straight away, so I need to find a way to express that a little bit better.
No, for sure. But so what are you working towards? Like what's next for you? So share anything you want to share here with people.
I don't know. I think I'd like to grow my YouTube a little bit more. So I'm just really working on social media at the minute. it's harder than it used to be to get out there and be noticed on social media. Even on Etoro, it's really hard to stand out these days. You can offer a lot, but well, I'm probably going to sound like I'm moaning now, but there's obviously a lot of AI stuff in the chat these days. And
Yes, I can tell you because I'm one of them posting.
it's frustrating. So I'm looking for real good engagement, and then all I'll get is that generic chat prompts that people get, which is like, good job, and then just a load of stuff that's not actually commenting on the content of it. So I feel like that's going to be an issue into the future. But yeah, mainly just working on socials, getting out there a bit. I don't think I'm going to be like massive on social media and getting a lot of copies, a lot of money from that. Sorry, my wife just walked in. Oh, she said to say that I'm thinking about doing an online course at some point for beginners and stuff. So I'm just
No,
I forgot. Good job she's there.
let us know. Let us know. We'll advertise it in Market Buzz for sure.
I'm just working on it at the minute. It might be a while, but it's hard to know. A beginner to me, like when I think I'm talking to a beginner, it's quite advanced. So I start talking to my wife about what I've written, and she's like, "That's too complicated." So I need to go back.
Correct.
And do it. So I need to try and
Because the
remember
thing is like
10 years ago.
Yeah, and it's also who your target is, right? Like who's the person on the other side of the scores. It's something I find, right? That's interesting. Timothy's doing one too. I mean, he gave the first couple of episodes for free just to test it out and see how the market reacts as well. Just because it gives you an idea of how, like, the people that would actually use it, how they would use it, what do they see, where's the value, and all of that stuff. Because it's interesting. It's interesting for sure whenever you read something, you're like, yeah, I get that. But then somebody that's never, like who you're targeting, right? Like I talk about a stocks
knowledge gap there as well. Because I'm trying to do it as for like complete beginners and really break it down, because that's what I struggled with, and that's why you have to fish from a lot of ponds back then. I mean, I think it's a bit easier now because there's a lot more content creators out there, but a lot of them skip that beginning bit and they just appear on social media when they're established, and then they're talking about PE numbers and multiples. A new investor doesn't know what a price to earnings ratio is. They don't know the simple ratios for value in a company. They just think these people doing voodoo numbers on charts and stuff. But there are simpler tools that you can break down for learning back then.
No, for sure. Like it gives you like the context to kind of understand, and it gives you sort of like that runway. If you take the course, then you're able to understand what we're talking about more. And then because you can find all of this information free out there, but then it takes time to find it. It takes also the value is from me giving you very concise, and it's like, here you go. I'll send you
with my charts, because people will ask what that is on a chart, and then I have to explain all the time, where if I can have this repository of knowledge, I can just say this is what it is. Because I think I forget, especially in my YouTube videos, when I'm talking about a chart, I'll be like, it's at the volume shelf, and I forget that people don't know what that is. So I have to try and remember to, explain where the market makers are sitting. And I forget because it's like second nature to me. So
I get you. No, and it's true. Yeah, like some people, it's like some people you start talking about PE ratios, and it's like, I don't even know what a broker is. It's like, who's a PE? It's like, so yeah, I get you that for sure. But cool, let us know. Let us know whenever you have it. And we'll make sure to share it, because Timothy has one, and he's been sharing it on the channel for a bit now. He's trying to just check it out. Maybe you can talk to him too, because I know he's super keen. Like he's been working on his website like there's no tomorrow. Like he's using AI the proper way, which is like coding and things and building. He's building so many things for his website. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's way more tech than me. I think he's been playing around with the Etoro widget thing as well, hasn't he? I've not got access to that.
Yeah, I have no idea either. I have no idea. But it's interesting. Okay, let me ask you sort of like quick fire question. Let me ask you, if you had $1 million right now, what do you do?
Actually, maybe my answer might shock people a lot a bit, but most of it I just put into ETFs.
Fair enough.
£1 million, I don't, even if it takes me another 10 years to grow that to 2 or 3 million, it's not, my life's going to be pretty good at that point, to be honest.
That's fair. You wouldn't spend any of it right now? Because the thing is a lot of people go, it's like, I'll go S&P 500. I'm like, okay, let me tell you how I'd spend.
The last part of my mortgage, just so that's done, and a few holidays. And I would still have some more kind of satellite type aspects to my portfolio. So maybe 75% of what was left after some, nice little treats, that would go into that stuff.
Nice. Okay. Let me ask you. Wait, I don't have my. Let me ask you just random ones. Why did you become a popular investor?
Why? Honestly, the perks, they were pretty good perks back then. And when I joined, the payments were higher at the low level. So they actually, it was just like a little cash bonus. You could go out for some nice meals and stuff. And who doesn't like money that's easy to come across? And then after a while, I started to really enjoy it. I've been on the platform for a very long time before I actually became a PI. I always felt like a bit of an imposter because I didn't have the experience. I gave it a go, and I feel like people like my content.
Yeah, so far, I mean, 5,100 people have clicked follow, and 472 people are giving you their money to invest. Which is like a very strong token of appreciation from those people.
Yeah, I
It's
used
like
to
they're
get really
trusting
freaked
you with their
out. I'm like,
capital.
oh my god, this. I don't want to let these people down, and now I feel like almost like we're friends, and that we both trust each other.
What do you think are the sort of like the easy mistakes everybody makes whenever they start investing?
I think I'm the poster child for that easy mistake. You just get. It depends what markets you join in. I think if you join in a bear market, you're going to be a lot more cautious, and that sets you up for your strategy later on. But if you invest in a bull market like we're seeing now, there's a lot of people coming in, putting a lot of money in one sector with a few, maybe 10 assets, but they're all in one sector. So I think the next bear market, there's going to be a lot of blow up accounts on Etoro. So that's definitely something to be a little bit more cautious of with these new accounts that maybe they've got 60% return in 6 months and that's all the history they have. Absolutely remember that is a bull market that they're in, and they've come in with a lot of risk at the right time. They may not have got hit at the beginning of the year with the tariff drop, so they've come in at that tariff low, boomed up. So I think that's probably one of the biggest mistakes new investors make. They don't understand where you buy affects it, and we all get sucked into the hype. That's exactly what I did, so I know we all do it.
Nice. Let me ask you, for somebody that's scared to invest, what would you say?
Just invest.
But why?
Just if you're not sure about how much money and stuff you want to invest, or if it's going to be worth the risk, get up a little compound calculator, just a simple interest one. Put in the numbers of what you think you could save a month, and just put it with a really low 8-9% CAGR or annual interest return, and put that out 10 years whilst putting in the little, this is how much I'm going to add a month, and see what that number gives you. You will be shocked, I'm sure. Because I think people don't understand the little changes add up. It all adds up, and in the end, it's gonna, retirement's expensive, and even when you get elderly care is gonna be expensive, and there's only so much the state will do in most countries. So if you don't want that, you need to have some kind of nest egg, and it doesn't have to be massive. It just needs to be a little bit. But you've got to start. Unfortunately.
Yeah, instead of, I say to a lot of people, instead of going out to dinner one week, just put that in the markets and see what happens. You know what I mean? For a little while, just to see, just to get. I say the hardest thing to do is the hardest thing in investing is to open the account, according to the massive data. Because like if only 14% of people have a stocks and shares ISA, I mean that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, I mean there's lots of other ways to make money, but I think investing is the most hands off you can do for just the small. If you want to be more hands on, obviously you can compound that higher. So obviously if you put that small number in and you had the CAGR that I do, it's going to grow quite quickly. But not saying that you could get that for 10 years. I'm not even under the delusion that I'm going to be able to maintain 40% for 10 years, because that would be insane. That would make me a legend. So that's naturally going to drop, especially as the volatility drops. But after a few years, you'll know where you sit, and then you can update those projections for your own earnings, and you'll be impressed. I mean, that's essentially what a pension's doing, right? It's investing for you, and that's growing.
Yeah.
The low market rates.
Last but not least, what's one belief about investing that changed your life?
One believement. Believement? Is that a word?
One belief. One belief.
I don't. It's just something that changed me, and it's not like a super positive thing, but I think it's important to see under the hood of what the governments do and how they it kind of is trapping you into the system at the bottom. If you're not getting assets they appreciate you, it's going to be painful in the future, I think. And knowing that and understanding that's how the world is structured, we've tried other types of economies, but we're in a capitalist one, and it's built like this for a reason, and that wealth divide's only going to grow. So you've got to get out of it, and that's the belief I've got, that it's really important to get out of it and help as many people as you can to get out of it. Obviously that divide's going to still be there, so there's going to have to be people at the bottom, unfortunately, but I don't want me or my loved ones to be at the bottom, which is
Yeah.
the whole reason I'm doing this.
It's the truth. It's the truth. Like, one of the things that people don't realize, at least in the UK, is that, like, just I had a Venezuelan friend that just came. He landed here a couple of months back, and he went back to Venezuela. But one of the things is, like, if you're in the UK, you're already part of the top 10% of people, like top 5% of people, just because you have access to a worldwide economy that's actually open and has capital markets, right? And you make more money than, like, I think, like, I was paying him minimum wage. He was helping me paint here while he came, and, like, he would make that in 10 years, whatever he made. Like, he made 2K in, like, a month, right? While he was working with me, and he would take 10 years to do that in Venezuela. Like, you know, it's like what he does in a month, he can accomplish in, I think it was like he was earning like $200 a month or something. So in 10 months time. So it's like the reality is like you have structures that somewhat work here. Don't wait until they don't to make a change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, there's a lot of people in the UK, especially moaning about the way things are, but a lot of people want the government to save them from it, but that's not what the government's there for.
If you keep looking for the hero is you in your story.
For sure.
You know? So it's the reality. Okay. Awesome. Jody, thanks so much. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I appreciate you all.